Ahoy, mateys! It's time for a One Piece Stampede review. I have no idea how to start this stupid thing. It is 10.
Hold on. I know the exact way to start this.
Okay.
Pull up the Wikipedia article on it because that's basically what this movie did for half its characters.
Yeah. No, I was actually trying to find a summary of the movie to go by, and one does not immediately exist. I'm probably going to find one if I search for a little while longer, but we're just going to play this by ear.
I don't know that you really need a synopsis. I can explain the plot pretty broadly. They show up to Pirate Party Island, but Pirate Party Island was trap.
Yep. I liked it better when it was called Omatsuri Island, and it was directed by Mamoru Hosoda, a.k.a. the guy who made Summer Wars.
I liked it better when it was called Mad Monster Party, and it was a different movie, and also it's Halloween.
I liked it better when it was Dragon Ball Super Broly, because at least that had narrative.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, it's not a bad One Piece movie.
No.
This coming from, somebody who's... I've kept up relatively. I'm really glad I finished watching or reading Big Mama's Island, weekend at Big Mama's Island before seeing this, because I would have been so lost no matter how many wiki articles they read on the characters.
Go ahead.
And the thing is that I'm coming to this as someone who watched maybe half of the very first season of the anime and then stopped. Because I wanted to see, just from that perspective, and then kind of what would it be like for someone who just does not know One Piece? And it's still if you want action, it's got it.
Yeah.
It's still good. The narrative isn't deep. The narrative isn't deep, but that's also a curse and a blessing in that you can enjoy it for what it actually is.
So before we jump too far into our summaries of how we felt,
I'm simply prefacing this with this is where we're coming from as far as our attachment to One Piece.
Exactly.
And that is what is going to frame our views of this. I know that you have a slightly different viewpoint.
I haven't watched any of the anime after the time skip happened, actually. Mostly just because, and if I'm going to be honest with you, the anime tries to adapt almost one chapter an episode, and that is too slow. One Piece I have always equated to a cheetah on a treadmill. A billion things happen every chapter, but it barely goes anywhere. And I cannot watch that one episode of an anime at a time.
That can't happen at the anime. I remember the last time I tried watching One Piece, I was watching the Dressrosa stuff because I heard the Luffy and Puppet Master, Doflamingo fight was great. And you know what? A lot of that animation, beautiful. When they have big set pieces going, the animation is spectacular. Mm-hmm. But while I was watching through that, I started skipping episodes. I'm like, I'm going to skip an episode. And I'm like, oh, I'm not missing anything. And then it was still taking forever to get to stuff. So I started skipping 2, sometimes 3 episodes at a time. And by the point, I finally hit a sweet spot, skipping 2 or 3 episodes where the recap would catch me up to where I'm at. I would not have missed anything. And then I can keep moving forward.
Yeah, I won't lie. As somebody who read the manga for the Dressrosa arc, everybody agrees there is no arc in One Piece that drags on more than the Dressrosa arc.
So that's their Tournament of Power.
Kind of.
And I find that to be really interesting because I actually had to read quite a bit of the Wano arc to do a video that I'd worked on way back when. And it felt like every dramatic set pieces happen in 3 panels and then immediate transition into something else and just go.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen it move so fast.
The Wano arc is sort of amazing in that it has a billion things going on at all times. It never stays on one thing for too long. Mm-hmm. And right now the Wano arc just went off the rails. I don't want to spoil anything, but let's just say stuff is happening with the Yonko and the Shichibukai that's pretty crazy.
It is. It's just astounding to see where we're still at with One Piece. I mean, think about it. Back in the day when we were, little kids watching Toonami, there was Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach.
Yep.
And 2 of those are done and gone, and nobody talks about Boruto.
One was unceremoniously canceled, and the other one
had an ending.
It was a Final Fantasy villain out of nowhere. But you know what? At least we got that last Sasuke Naruto fight, which,
and
honestly, fuck you, fight me. It's one of the best fights in all of anime.
And
I don't care.
And I still really like Naruto, the movie, The Last. I'm not sure what it is actually called what order that's supposed to be.
Is that the Boruto one or the one with
No,
Hinata?
That's the one with Hinata. I actually like that one with Hinata in the moon. I thought it was cute.
Where Naruto suddenly remembers he loves Hinata.
All right, guys, we're getting a little off track here.
So,
okay, fine. We'll talk about One Piece.
One Piece.
Let's talk about One Piece Stampede.
So yeah, basically the outline of the plot is a guy wants to bring back the pirate festival. I think it was Buena Festa was his name.
Sure.
Yeah, I think
Something
that's right.
like that.
Actually, yeah.
That sounds right.
He wants to bring back the pirate festival. It's supposed to be crazy, insane, just basically a party where all the pirates get together, and it has no rules. The only rule is if you tell the military about it, we will all come after you and we will all fucking kill you.
Which I thought was going to be a real big plot point in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like somebody was going to be like, "Oh, the Straw Hats did it! Shit!"
Yeah, because it's like, don't do it.
Here's the
Don't
thing.
do it.
I knew it wasn't because Buena Festa at the very beginning is already super shady.
Oh,
So-
Yeah.
I mean, of course, he was
Yeah.
going to be the one to set somebody up, is what I thought.
Yeah. So I knew that rule was just there to be a rule. It wasn't one to be broken. I didn't feel like it had any narrative importance. It was just, hey, just don't tell the military, otherwise everything goes. And that's all you needed.
Yeah, and they throw that like little plot device out immediately, pretty much.
Well, because so the festival part of it is covered literally in the opening credits. You see everything that you can do at this festival in the opening credits.
that's really cool. Like
Yeah.
that's something that they do very well in One Piece. Like, oh, let's world build. Let's show what this place is like. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
The scope is actually really impressive.
But I'll say this, I liked that better in Gold. I don't know if you saw Gold.
I didn't.
I saw Gold. Gold did the same
That's
thing,
the
but
casino
it was
one, right?
Yeah, it was basically Las Vegas on an island. And as a guy who was recently in Vegas last November, it was a great juxtaposition of what is a pirate version of this. And I loved it there. Here, it's not really the focus though. Again, it's all covered in the opening credits, and then the next thing that happens is the treasure hunt.
Yeah.
The treasure hunt is a really big part of this because apparently it's Gold Roger's lost treasure.
Yeah, it's the entire first act of the movie is this treasure hunt.
Yeah, and they decide to pull, of all things, from Skypiea to
Yeah.
give us this whole set piece. An island comes shooting out of the water on a spout and is surrounded by a bubble. Things add up if you've watched all of One Piece, but if you haven't, if you've missed even a little bit, you might be like, how the fuck does that work?
This is
It just
definitely
does.
it's definitely like, as we kind of stated earlier, a One Piece fan service movie. It's pulling back from a lot of things that you
Oh
remember.
yeah,
It's
it pulls back from damn near everything.
Yeah.
So this is the biggest cast out of any movie I've ever seen. And when it comes to One Piece, that's saying a lot because
he doesn't get rid of any of his characters.
I was about to say, what is there a single character that doesn't get brought into this?
a couple. I mean, you don't have Big Mama. You don't have any of the Yonko.
Okay,
actually.
so some of like the real villains you don't see.
Yeah,
but
you see a bunch of the Shichibukai though. Crocodile shows up.
yeah, a
Mihawk
lot of
shows
the
up.
villains from the past show up. I
Actually-
mean, obviously Buggy's there.
Actually, thinking
That
about
blew
it,
my mind.
Does any of the other Shichibukai? I know that Mihawk and Buggy show up. Crocodile's no longer one.
Princess.
Oh yeah.
Princess Snake.
Princess
Yeah.
Snake.
I don't remember her. Boa Hancock.
Boa
Oh,
Hancock,
Hancock,
there we
that's
go.
right.
Yeah, she
I only
shows up.
remember her figure, but that's just because Oda's draws ladies.
That was something that was actually kind of weird. Like, I've always been told that when it comes to One Piece characters, you're either stunningly beautiful or like
A pear.
monstrosity. Like you're a monstrosity.
You have no neck.
and you barely have any legs or anything like that.
Wait until you see the Wano arc, because some of the women in there are literally pulled directly from old Japanese paintings of women.
Really, that's all. That's actually
Really? It's
kind
going
of
back
cool.
to ukiyo and whatnot?
Yep.
So they have the crazy angular faces? I want to see that. Okay, you've convinced me.
Yeah, well, the Wano arc is just Japan.
No, I know, I know.
It's pretty amazing. But yeah, so this big old treasure hunt happens, and they've got to go up to this island, and it's playing out like a One Piece movie at this point. A billion characters going after one thing.
and this is where like my critique of like let's read the wiki article starts, because you have these two announcer characters, an ugly ass man and a pretty girl.
Yep.
And
Boy, howdy, that guy. Like, his peg leg was longer. His peg leg was longer than his rest of.
God
leg.
damn the man that gave him that peg leg.
Yeah, right.
Just so improperly balanced, but whatever. The characters are all delightfully Oda. If you like his character designs, you'll love them. And I genuinely enjoy them, I'll admit.
Yeah.
But, you know, as everybody's traveling up this water spout and racing to get to this island, these announcers are like, oh, look, it's the These Pirates. They're known for this. And then there's the These Pirates. Oh, look, it's the only woman of the worst generation. And then there's these people that don't matter. And it's like, it's that moment where it clicked in my head, like, this is definitely a fan movie, but why are they taking the time to introduce all of these characters and then ignoring these ones? And no matter, like, they're obviously just stupid comic relief pirates. I think one of them was the guy that they fought when they got Chopper, and then the other one were the Foxy pirates that keeps trying to steal other people's crew, right? Like, that's their gimmick.
Yeah. And by the way, they have some pretty good jokes.
I mean, like, you know, for One Piece.
Yeah. Well, One Piece can have really good humor, or it can have really bad humor, depending on how well it's actually.
I love early One Piece humor. It kind of wears on you as you go, though.
To be honest, the manga can still really kill it. And in this movie, so Bartolomeo shows up, the
Luffy fanboy with his like Luffy ship.
And I think one of the best things is when the Straw Hats actually finally see Bartolomeo's ship, which is literally covered in One Piece Straw Hat characters. Their response is, "Oh God, your ship!"
Yep,
literally, that is their response in the dub. Oh God, your ship!
I'm wondering if there's any subtext from Oda about that and the fan base. Nothing negative, but definitely like wow, kind of.
I don't know.
You feel like he made this character because like there are those kind of fanboys out there. It's like, oh my God, like why wouldn't Luffy have a fanboy? Because he does all these cool things. And I guess the big thing I had about that was like, you know, he has a really high bounty and stuff like that, but every time he goes to a new island, there are people that heard of him, but they're always like, oh my God, he has this bounty, he must be terrifying. Nobody knows about the good shit he does except for the, you know, people he helps.
Yeah. And Bartolomeo has been following that shit real tight. He's all about the Straw Hats. But yeah, so they all get up to the island. Shit breaks out.
It's just a battle royale of powers being thrown left and right.
Which is really cool if you're a One Piece fan to see characters who don't usually fight go at it. Like we see fucking, what was it, Killer?
Killer fight Sanji or not Sanji, Zoro. And you see Eustace Kid, you know, finally go toe to toe with Luffy for a couple of seconds before they get busted up by like Scratchman Apu and
seeing Scratchman,
Al Capone.
Seeing Scratchman in this fight was so much fun. Do you remember Scratchman Apu?
Vaguely.
Yeah, he's the guy with the long arms.
So here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. As someone who knows very little about One Piece, but you know has had enough exposure to it to kind of get it, the chase scene in itself was good action. Like the thing is that Lenny, you were talking about how it felt like a listed wiki article, but I never thought that it held on for too long.
No. They were definitely grazing through it, but it was at that point where I'm just like, oh my God, this is what they're doing for like the next 3 minutes, isn't it?
Sure. But see, as an audience member who doesn't have any big attachment to these characters, it was still really cool because like you see the ship, you see the crew, you see the captain, you know exactly what they're about, you know exactly what their theme is, and it's real easy to follow even if you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Which is really good.
I never had a problem with that because that's obviously like, hey, your friends brought you to this movie. It's good that you actually know who these characters are before they do things. But then they like do stuff out of nowhere like I forgot for a very long while that X Drake's power is that he turns into a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I'm like, oh, right.
Okay, no. I lost it at Al Capone because the dude just turns into a goddamn castle.
Yep.
What?
Yep. Al Capone.
Excuse me?
Al Capone his body is a temple.
Yeah, his body is literally a fortress. His crew lives inside of him. He could actually travel the seas on a rowboat if he wanted to and keep his crew with him.
I love Al Capone, and again,
his power is so cool.
No, it's cool. It's just like, what is it? Is it a devil fruit power, or is it something?
Yeah. Almost everything is a devil fruit power.
Okay.
The only thing in the series that is not a devil fruit power is the haki.
Yeah, those are the only things that are like superhuman that are not.
Which Oda only has in there because Zoro and Sanji
need to keep up.
Yep. And even then, Oda recently introduced something for Sanji. Which I think they've shown in the opening.
Oh, does he have a Zentai suit now?
He may have a Sentai. Not Sentai. Zentai is very different.
Is it?
Yes. Zentai is literally...
Would it be something Sanji would enjoy, though?
On a girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway, so this big battle happens. And this entire time, Buena Festa, which I know his name was Festa. I don't know if it was Buena Festa, but
Chuck Festa, whatever.
Chuck Festa has been up there cackling, being like, "Oh right,
that real Wolfman Jack line."
Yeah, I first of all love the actor for Festa, just killing this. Like,
I know I've heard him like a million other places. We saw the dub, by the way.
Yeah, we did see the dub.
It is good by as someone who actually prefers subs.
This is great.
Yeah,
it is good. It is really good.
I love her. She's wonderful. Colleen Clinkenbeard. If God help me if you ever see this, please know that I love you. I've never gotten into her Luffy.
I really liked it early on. I will say, when you go past the time skip and they try to do the deeper voices, it starts to kind of grate on you. Like it, I was always okay with Molly Flanagan as Naruto, but I switched to subs after the time skip.
Yeah, Mayumi Tanaka just kills it so hard. Like there's no comparison. Like I've heard people say they like Sean Schemmel over Masako Nozawa. I have almost never heard someone say that they prefer any English version of Luffy over Mayumi Tanaka. And I think that's just because like there's just something about that voice, that androgyny there, and that delivery.
I still think it worked pre-time skip. Like I watched the dub pre-time skip and I thought it sounded great.
It's hard to capture.
I feel like
really
we're
is.
avoiding something. So everything's going exactly as it should. Everyone's trying to get the treasure. Now, somehow, Nami just zeroes in and says, okay, look, on the island, there's a ship. It has gold in it. And
there's that chest.
There's a chest.
That tiny little one. That little shitty chest.
But Scott, she has an eye for treasure after all.
That might be her observation, Haki.
Yeah, that must be, because she points out the exact box, the exact treasure chest.
Because we got a plot we need to get rolling.
Yeah.
And it's an entire ship of treasure, by the way.
Yeah.
Just gold everywhere, just jewels. It's what you expect a pirate treasure to look like.
And so whether or not someone else picks up on that or other people just realize that must be the chest, everyone starts going for it. And the person who gets it is Buggy.
Now, I will say this. We have skipped a important plot point that does matter at this point because Buggy is there. He's there acting as security for the party for the island. And he is introduced chasing down Trafalgar Law.
Yes.
Who was there something figuring out something shady dealings.
Oh, yeah. Right. So Trafalgar Law and a couple of other characters, including Smoker, which, thank you, Smoker. I love you. Smoker's one of my favorites.
He's great.
Yeah, he's there with not Zoro's dead girlfriend. And they are investigating undercover, and I love it. I love watching Smoker in these clothes. I can't remember her name, but his one of his
protege, his lieutenant or whatever.
No. The one with the pink hair that has those guardrail powers.
Oh God, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah. She was all going on like, what are those clothes? And he's like, look, it's a long story.
I'm here to cover.
Yeah, but he's there. So both him and Trafalgar Law are not.
They know something's up, and Law discovered what it was, and now everybody's trying to get him, and he sneaks aboard.
Which I'm fucking sorry.
Luffy's ship.
Somebody tell me how Buggy and Alberta are able to give Trafalgar Law a run for his money. Because he's heavily wounded. I don't
think they did. I think he ran into what's his name earlier, Bullet.
Ooh.
Oh,
that's my theory, because the reason they obviously gave Buggy the security detail is one, he's one of the Shichibukai, and so the government won't get involved if he's involved, and two, he runs like a crew full of all these massively overbounded pirates.
Yeah, which I love. Like Buggy is one of my you'd think Buggy would be one of those characters that would get really old really quickly.
That's what I was about to say. Actually, it's like, okay, so what other times has Buggy appeared since his first inception, like way back when, season 1?
He shows up there, he gets arrested. They break. He is a big part of the jailbreak, impel down part with Luffy.
Okay.
Basically, Luffy runs into him, and they, along with Candlehead number 3, all break out together. And Buggy ends up on this crew with these pirates who have just seen him like going toe to toe, like running with Straw Hat, standing alongside Whitebeard, and they're like, "Oh my god, he's so cool!" So he has these like massively powerful fanboys that all follow his every whim.
Like that's what threw me off, because Buggy is not like super intimidating or super capable.
No,
and
but he has very powerful acquaintances.
That's true.
Which gives him this clout in the pirate world.
And I love that every time he tries to say something, it is misinterpreted. It's supposed to be cowardice, but it's misinterpreted as him being brave and headstrong.
He's anti-hero. He's anti-hero Usopp, basically.
Yeah,
I could see that.
So.
But yeah, Buggy gets the pirate treasure.
Yeah.
And
also, and at this point, Law has already talked to the Straw Hats and told them something's going on. So,
and they don't give a fuck. They knew they were walking into a trap.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Law, Sanji,
that's right.
Robin,
You need the
and
B
Chopper actually go to investigate what the hell's going on.
And I'll be honest, I feel nothing comes of that.
Actually, only one thing comes of it, and that's that they find out that a Buster Call is coming.
And
but then again, it doesn't. Well, it was coming. I mean, in fact, for all intents and purposes, it still happens. But we're jumping ahead. They find out that a Buster Call is coming, and it's
spoilers, by the way, for pretty much everything in this review.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put a spoilers thing in,
everywhere.
Yeah. Although honestly, so. Okay, now to get to the major point. They find the box. Buggy opens the box. And of course, they do the thing of, I can't believe this exists. That's impossible. No way.
Yeah. And it's the perspective shot of going up to the face. You have no idea.
Yeah, you have no idea what it is. You won't know what it is for another 30 minutes.
No, you won't know what it is for another 40 minutes. Yeah. At least.
Because the moment he opens the box, shit goes south. I think the island falls at that point. The bubble pops?
No, it's not that the bubble pops. This is something that I was really confused by, but they show that a object is hurled from the ground into the island and it just busts apart.
Oh yeah,
and it's by our basically main antagonist in this. I think his name is Bullet.
Douglas Bullet.
He throws essentially a ship at this island, and it breaks apart. Everything goes tumbling to the ground. Everybody who has a name survives, and this is where the conflict begins with your Dragon Ball Z villain.
Yeah. So Douglas Bullet has a really cool design. He's this big motherfucker. He's as white as he is.
He looks like Brock Sampson.
He's got the same mullet too, actually.
Yeah, that was the only way I could look at him, because I know Oda likes pulling from Western thing, and I'm like, this is Brock Sampson. He's fighting Brock Sampson.
He's giant. He's a fucking beast of a human being. And we find out that he was a member of Roger's crew. And I'm going to name 3 things that you need to know about Douglas Bullet. 1, he was a member of Roger's crew. 2, he wants to be the strongest. And 3rd, his devil fruit power is that he can basically take the matter around him and reconstruct it. Those are the only 3 things that you actually need to know, because they're the only 3 things that actually matter.
One more.
Oh.
And that's that he doesn't need that power to kick the shit out of everybody, and he proves it.
Yeah.
He beats the shit out of all of the worst generation, including Luffy. Yeah. Just punch him in the fucking face. No matter what you do, I'm stronger than you little bitch. Just get on the ground. And he does that until he's bored of it, and then he decides to become a ship.
Yeah. It cannot be understated how much he wipes the floor with everybody. If you've seen the original Broly movie, not Super Broly, as you pointed out, I felt this as I was watching. I'm like, this is very familiar. This is just the original Z Broly movie.
Shit stomps left and right.
Yeah. It is
throwing motherfuckers into other motherfuckers.
Yeah, he takes Rex or Drake,
yeah,
picks him up as a dinosaur and throws him like it's nothing.
Capone turns into a castle. He punches him. He's like, "No, I'm done."
Yep.
What I don't understand, and this is kind of speaking mechanically as the movie goes, I felt like there was he power escalated for no discernible reason.
Yeah.
Oh, it escalated out of nowhere, and it never de-escalated. It just kept getting higher and higher, and yet somehow, we got to win at some point here.
Sure,
but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Eventually, he turns this part actually made me laugh because he rose up out of the underground, like beneath him, like his submarine ship raises up, like, this is my ship. It's decked out completely made of iron and stuffed with weapons. And this is before he introduces the fact that his power is that he absorbs things and malleolates.
Yeah, what was the point of that?
But he says, like, it's full of weapons. It just shows this room full of axes and hammers. I'm like, why?
I mean, that's a good question. Why? Because the next thing he does is he incorporates it into a mecha.
He turns into a mecha.
It turns into a mecha.
He turns into a mecha,
a relatively cool looking mecha.
And none of those weapons ever come back. He doesn't use them in the fight.
Normally, when you say your ship is full of weapons, you'd show like cannons and stuff. But no,
I mean, there were
shows
guns.
Yes, there were guns on the ship. But the room they showed when he said full of weapons were like axes, Morning Star, swords. I'm like,
honestly, here's the perspective that I get out of that, and specifically because they're old melee weapons, is because I think it was to prove what kind of person that he was, because he is very much might makes right. Period. So I think maybe that's Oda just trying to describe to us what kind of character he is, despite, either he's extremely two-dimensional in that all he cares about is war, or you actually kind of get a better idea of just how primal he is.
Well, to be fair, in this entire movie, he never uses anything even close to a projectile.
That's true.
He just punches motherfuckers. In fact, I think that one of his moves is called the Ultimate Fist, which is just...
if you can understand him through the vocal filter they put on him.
He actually tried to shoot one gun that came right out of his palm.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
He tried to, but it didn't happen.
Yeah, Usopp stopped him.
Yeah. To be fair, at one point, he actually does try to use a projectile.
Oh, we got to talk about Usopp later.
We'll have to talk about Usopp later.
He has like the most to do with this plot out of anybody except Luffy, maybe.
Yeah. So, it cannot be understated how many characters that are in this movie. Like, in that fight against Douglas Bullet, you've got every damn buddy fighting him. Yep. I think almost all
you
of
have
the worst generation.
You have the worst generation, and some of them with their first mates.
Yeah. So during the fight, Luffy gets everyone gets destroyed. But Luffy gets some of the worst of it because he keeps just running in, and Usopp has to come in and save him.
But Usopp is already there because he was getting the treasure, and that's where Bullet comes up.
Yeah, we got to talk about about that pup.
Yeah, by the way, the moment,
and that's why Luffy is so into this. Like, no, fuck this guy, get away from my friend. Yeah, because he got that shown. Because
the audience is led to believe that he's possibly dead.
Yeah,
which kind of
never happens. Not even in a Dragon Ball movie where they can bring people back till they kill people.
Yeah, but I mean that's to try to up the stakes.
They show the first time you actually see Bullet, he's literally holding Usopp by the head, and by the head I mean like in his hand,
like three fingers. Like his pinky is kind of loose.
He's overhanding him.
That lets you know how big he is.
Him. Yes, and it's actually kind of a disturbing shot. Like when you realize he just straight up murked Usopp. He's still alive, but he might as well be dead at that point.
And we all know Usopp's not exactly a melee fighter. But,
and secondarily, that he's just holding him like that. It's a very, very striking shot.
I want to say one thing, though, and I almost started laughing. And again, this is coming from the perspective of someone who is not into this fandom. I almost started laughing when he fell to the ground and his nose was deflated and laying on the side. I was like, "Oh no!"
He does that. He does that all the time.
I feel like you get a shot of Usopp like that once every arc.
Yeah.
So would you say that Usopp's kind of like the Yamcha of the series, or a little bit?
He's way like. He's more of like a useful Krillin, if that makes sense.
Okay, I get that.
He gets shit done.
Yeah, he's way more like Krillin, and not just because in the dub he's voiced by Sonny Strait.
But like he's definitely like that support, like that foil, that weaker foil to Luffy. Who, but unlike Krillin, he actually like gets a lot of shit done when he has to. Although Krillin, he has his moments.
Yeah, no, Krillin. So Usopp,
he's the utility normie. Basically.
Okay, that's fair.
Usopp ends up waking up just in time to save Luffy from
shooting beans and seeds at him.
We have to make mention that Usopp did find the treasure, and they did the exact same thing they did with Bug.
They do that shot every time until Luffy.
At the very end.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, we get to see what it is.
We see it from Bullet's perspective.
That's right. That's
the first time we actually see what it is. And again, we haven't gone too far into spoiler territory at this point, but after this, the real big mysteries we're going to start like laying
here's
out
where
and-
real spoilers, like if you want to see One Piece Stampede and like have nothing to worry about, no spoilers, this is the part where the plot kind of actually has things that
For what little plot there is.
If you want the thumbs up or thumbs down on whether or not to see this movie, if you're a One Piece fan, yes, absolutely.
Oh, it's absolutely.
I would-
It's 1,000% One Piece fan movie.
I would even say, as a non-fan of One Piece, if you've ever been curious about it and you want to get an idea of what the characters are like, how batshit insane this movie gets, as a non-One Piece fan, I would say go see it. Even if you're One Piece curious.
I would definitely say if you have a One Piece fan friend, go with them.
Yes,
I'm,
yes.
I'm a little more middling on it. I'll be honest. Like, just to get to, we're leading towards the climax here. By this point in the movie, I was like, okay, now we're moving into the climax. The climax is literally 50% of the movie.
Yeah.
and
More.
I got tired.
Oh my
tired.
God.
So
Yeah.
I'd say it's worth a watch. Probably not in theaters.
I don't know. Seeing it in theaters was pretty crazy.
Okay, to be fair, there is a level of energy you get in a movie theater that might actually boost it for you. But for me, this is, I don't know. I probably wouldn't watch it again. This is something I probably wouldn't watch again.
I would say watch it if you can. If you're like in an anime club, like on college or high school, something like that.
Yeah.
I'd watch it with a group of people.
Yes.
Because there are so many hype moments. We could hear people around us getting hyped.
Oh yeah,
multiple
the guys
times.
in the back row, they were like super psyched.
Yeah.
Anytime
Oh my
something
God.
happened, they're like, yeah! I'm like,
They were
I'm glad they're having fun.
Exactly.
They were adorable, honestly.
So-
like every moment hit them exactly as they wanted it to.
Watch
Which
this.
is what I know that
Yeah.
for a One Piece fan, definitely thumbs up, see it. If you don't give a crap about One Piece, obviously, like no.
Don't see it alone. If you don't care about One Piece, don't see it. But if you have friends that care about it, go just for them.
Yeah.
Like because it's this is kind of on the level of someone starts singing the Pokemon theme like the original, and then everyone chimes in.
Yeah.
It's that level of energy that I can see from this happening. So
And the movie knows it. They know when to kick in. We are.
oh god.
Oh my God.
Even I was like, oh, I'm getting bumps.
So they this movie actually did a lot with its music. I love the music from One Piece. Let me tell you.
I felt like its opening theme was a bit meh.
No, I mean,
But-
a little bit. But I love the One Piece music. I love its OST. The movies always introduce these really great pieces. But yeah, so
So yeah, you're basically getting 2.5 stars here out of 3. So
Yeah.
it's I think it's a worthy watch if you're a fan. But now we'll move on to the actual spoilers of this climax where Usopp, he's like
Firing
doing his
his
thing,
little seeds,
and,
and then-
he's been stating like this entire time, I'm a sniper, I'm here for support. You know, that whole thing. And
Yep.
come on, Nami. A sniper is from the distance. We give.
we're here for support, and
Yeah.
it's an important motif, and it actually pays off. I'll be honest.
Yeah, there are literally seeds planted in this scene, and which I knew was going to happen.
Of course.
Like, the moment, and I kind of wish. I mean, okay. From a movie telling standpoint, it was good that they showed one of the seeds sprouting to crush the finger, because that tells you, oh, that's what that ability can do.
That's what he's doing.
And
He's
shot a bunch
he's doing
of them.
Kurama shit.
So we were all sort of waiting for when that would pay off, and it literally takes the next, like, it is at near the end of the climax to where that pays off.
I
Those scenes have great
think
timing.
it is the right amount of time, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's enough time that like we said, this climax is like 30 minutes long. It's enough time that you've forgotten about that whole scene, that when it pays off, it's like, oh yeah, he did that.
Yeah, and it's a really great scene just to watch. Of all characters, Usopp, the coward, standing up for his captain, which at this point
Usopp has
he's
some of my favorite moments in One Piece.
oh
so.
absolutely, and it's not a surprise at this point. He's done this before. This is pretty late into the story, so. Okay. So anyway, stands up for his captain. Doesn't work out great, but they end up alive, barely. And it's a great scene with, oh God, after this, it starts to get murky.
Oh, very. Because everything is happening all at once.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. He stands up against Douglas Bullet. So Douglas Bullet is like, you think just because you can crush one of my fingers that you can do anything? Fuck that shit. And then he just absorbs all of the ships around him
He absorbs basically a chunk of the island and becomes this like
It's like a
becomes
golem kind of.
Chernabog.
Yeah.
Chernobog is
Yeah.
the best way to describe
He
it. 'cause
becomes the final fucking Colossus.
he even does
from
the hand thing, like "Urgh," when he rises out of the dirt.
with a rabbit. He becomes a rabbit too. Did you notice that he becomes a fucking rabbit?
No.
Yeah.
No,
I did not. I did
didn't.
not
Yeah.
see.
When was this?
Yeah, no, the fucking face and the ears, it's a fucking rabbit.
I never saw
Oh.
ears. I'll
I didn't
be
see. I
honest.
saw the face. I didn't
Those
see.
two giant things, what are those supposed to be? They look like rabbit ears.
I don't even remember, man. Like, I'll be honest, a lot of the scenes with the admittedly all right CGI monster,
We'll get to that.
was like it was all in browns and dark
Purples.
blues and purples. So
Yeah.
that
It was hard to
I could
distinguish
barely
figures.
tell what was
Yeah.
part of him and what was just texture.
We need to talk about the CG in this movie.
Oh, boy.
Because it's not terrible. It's not even
It's way
bad.
better. It's way better than Res F was.
Oh,
like
yeah,
several years ago.
Res F was like, so Battle of Gods was one of the first times I'd actually seen full-on CG in any of my classic shonen shit. Like, from Dragon Ball to One Piece, like, I was like, oh shit, they're using CG. It was really bad in Battle of Gods. It was somewhat better in Resurrection F. Here, it is acceptable. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It's like a third of the animation in this movie because they have these huge dramatic set pieces. They have all these characters running on screen, and it's just so jarring. I can't like, and I know the kids.
It's not Berserk level bad though.
Yeah, no, kids are going to love it, and I know that the kids are going to love it because ultimately, what they're going to see is these huge things happening with all these characters running. They're not going to care that there's a difference between the 2D traditionally animated characters and the 3D animated characters. But for somebody who grew up with this shit, it is really jarring.
I think the very reason why it was so muddy and hard to see the details was specifically because of this. I think Toei Animation is starting to figure out how CG works. Because, for example, now, this show that I freaking love, Gegege no Kitaro, Toei did that as well. And they had a scene where they had a kaiju attack, and it looked awful. And specifically awful because you could see the entire thing. You could see all the details and whatnot. It looked really, really bad. When it comes to Stampede, though, because it's so murky, you don't actually see how bad it could be. However, I lost it every single time they had CG animated people running.
Yep.
The thing, the CG works in anime. If you don't believe me, watch the very last episode of Demon Slayer and tell me that 3D does not work in anime. And that will prove you wrong. But it's a set piece. 3D works best in anime as a set piece and kind of like an overdrop. But when it comes to fine detail, like even with like multiple people running, to see those really janky animation runnings, it was just really off-putting.
But even then, there are a lot of scenes where characters are running in a 3D environment, and it's so obvious. And it happens all throughout this movie because, again, it's the scale of this movie in terms of like the actual environment that the fight happens is nuts. Like, it's crazy. He becomes the island. So at that point, you're
third of the island. To be fair.
But yeah, you're basically fighting again the final Colossus,
a massive land.
Yeah,
Yes,
the final Colossus from Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah,
and he is a nightmare to fight. And it takes literally one of the worst, at least two of the worst generations.
there's a piece from like every pie there.
Yeah, from the Shichibukai, an ex-Shichibukai, like
Sabo shows up.
Is a revolutionary shows up, which spoilers. Sabo shows up. I know.
Did that.
But like Sabo shows up there, and by the way, if you don't know Sabo's deal, it is like, who the fuck is that? Did he say Big Brother? What the fuck?
That's where I kind of lost. I was like, I had no idea Luffy had family.
Luffy, yes, and he has Ace's fire powers now because
he got the devil fruit from the Dressrosa tournament.
Yes, because I guess more spoilers, but if you're watching this, you really should know this. Ace is dead.
Yep.
Ace.
Didn't they give a hint, a little bit of a hint to him at the very, very end?
Yes, actually, and it was kind of weird the way they did it.
Yeah.
We'll go into that.
Yeah.
But so it's so at this point, the actual plot details hardly matter at all because it just becomes
it's just a big clusterfuck fight.
Yeah, and it's basically just all of them trying to figure out how the fuck are we supposed to fight this dude.
And Law has a plan. He's like, okay, I'm going to cut open his armor. At this point, we need you to do this. And Law at this point has teamed up with Crocodile because the B team met up down there and that didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And so, except to add Crocodile to the ranks.
I want to say, for as much as we equate this to the old Broly movie, I actually think that this movie did the ultimate fight, the ultimate, the
climax.
the climax, the best.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically because they came up with a plan. In
Yeah,
Broly, it literally was everyone give me your energy.
Give Goku your energy and it'll be done.
And
But
I'm like,
no, in this one, it's okay. Everybody's going to do their part to chip away his shell, and then Luffy's going to deliver the big fucking elephant gun, massive King Kong bullet blow.
And it took that much time. Like it took a good 5-10 minutes for them to actually come up with the plan and then execute it and then have everything fall into place. It wasn't just boom, it's done, okay, final punch, go. Like it took time to build it up.
Yeah, and again, I can't stress that the animation in this movie is off the fucking chain. Like they've been talking about this movie for a while, and I know some people erroneously, and if I can be honest, foolishly keep trying to compare this movie and Super Broly. They're two movies to try to accomplish different things.
They're super different.
Yeah. And people need to stop comparing them. You can like both. You should like both. They're both good movies.
I think
personally,
Broly's better.
Personally, I liked Broly better, but I've also have a personal attachment more to Dragon Ball than I do to One Piece.
That is also fair.
And I also legitimately believe that out of the two of them, one had a simpler plot that was better delivered. Well, this one had a super convoluted
which is paper thin at the end of the day.
Yeah,
it was very convoluted.
Thin, but it is so involved and so crazy and so
everybody's involved. There's the underworld people that are involved in it. There's the Navy. There's we have to tie everything in here.
If we're being honest, though, it is not. To be fair, it's actually not overcomplicated because what it really just comes down to is here are good guys, here bad guy, good guy, bad guy, good guys fight bad guy. Bad guy beat them up.
But they had to add the extra pieces to it to make it seem more complicated.
That kind of goes to what I was going to say is that where New Broly, I think New Broly and Stampede do well in their combat animations in two different ways.
Yes.
Broly is micro-focused. It is 3 guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2. And because of that, the scope is so much shrunk that the fine detail of that kind of animation, that fight, that's what makes it superb. This is a macro. One of the things that I really loved was when Luffy's fists were literally going all over the place in and out of the camera. It is a macro fight, not only because of the style of how everyone fights, but because there's so many people in this fight. That's why this animation really shines through. It's not really the fine detail, it's how much is going on in this freaking movie at one time.
I'm actually going to counter that a little bit. It's not so much that Broly is micro-focused, which it is, and I agree with that, but it's more so that it's not a movie about Goku and Vegeta. It is a movie about Broly. Broly is the protagonist in that movie.
That's fair.
He's
the one that goes on the hero's journey. He has the train, he has his origin, he has his training, he has his the death of his mentor, quote unquote, and he has the going to the dark area, and then he has his return to his peaceful place. He didn't actually win throughout that, but it was his hero's journey throughout that entire movie. Whereas this didn't really have a protagonist.
Well, it's because it didn't have much of a story.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Weakest part of the film is Douglas Bullitt.
Yes, I agree.
And look, he's really cool. He's really intimidating. His voice, his regular old speaking voice, that's Damon Mills. That was. I don't know if you know Damon Mills. He's the guy who stood in for Chris Ayres as Frieza when Chris Ayres was
to hear
too
this
sick.
juxtaposition is crazy.
Yeah. I've heard him do high voices. He usually does voices around here. He does teenagers.
Guy's brimming with talent. He's great.
And he comes down here, and I'm like, oh my fucking he does.
If you see this man, you would not be able to correlate that voice to that character.
I mean, he does a spot on impersonation. I mean, spot on of Damian Clark's Cell. In fact, that's how I got to know him. Is that back in the day he was doing these really cool little fan dubs where it was remarkable. But so I wasn't too surprised. I was I knew he could go deep. I am not wholly convinced they didn't pitch mod him.
Well, to be fair, when he's the island, there's that massive,
or even the mech.
Yeah, but I'm talking about normal ass.
Yeah.
And to that regard, I cannot stress Douglas Cool is a cool looking, cool sounding villain.
Dougie Cool.
Yes.
You said Douglas Cool.
You said Douglas Cool.
Sorry. Douglas Cool Bullet. Douglas C, as they like to call him in school. Dougie C. Douglas Bullet is one of the cooler sounding, looking, and feeling villains out of a lot of these movies. But he's also easily 100% one of the most shallow. And that sucks, because if you saw the last 3 movies, it really kind of sucks, because like the last 3 One Piece movies had some of the best movie villains. And then you got this guy. And it's like, oh, okay.
Oh, Scott, tell him about how they beat him.
Oh, I love this part. They do the most cliche fucking thing. After they do that whole convoluted plan, and then we get Usopp's payoff when he is the mech again, and his arm gets shattered, and he's finally out of his ship, and Luffy and he are just having their Muda Aura fight.
Yeah, okay. By the way, I gotta stress this. Oh my god. So I don't know if anyone on the writing staff either knew or cared how Luffy's powers actually work, but he exhausts. There is no way he should have any strength after the big takedown of the giant form. Because the giant form literally requires everybody to utilize 100% of their abilities and then some. And Luffy does one of the biggest punches he's ever done in all of One Piece just to finally land the finishing blow on the giant form.
Yeah, to knock him out of his armor. Basically.
Okay. I would even say that even then he should not have any. He shouldn't even have the ability to do that, because after he got the floor wipe, after Bullet wiped the floor with him, as long as with everyone else, like even what was it? Even I think Usopp was like, he's lost a lot of blood. I'm like, he should be dead.
Yeah, that anime logic.
No, I know that.
But we did have a small conversation with another big fan of this movie afterwards, and he was saying like, doesn't he normally need 15 to 20 minutes to recharge after using Gear 4? And they like movie logic. You just kind of have to understand that they're skipping with that. So he goes into this massive Muda fight at the end, and he's like, "I'm the strongest there is. I don't need anybody." That's not true. You have a friend. And he's like, oh, I did have a friend. And then he just gets punched in the face, and he's done.
And it had a whole flashback and everything.
So throughout this entire movie, it is acknowledged that he is a member of Gold Roger's crew.
But Roger beat him, and then he's like, fine, I'm going to keep fighting you anyway.
Roger beat him, so he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to go do my own thing. And then it's never brought up again until this fight happens. First of all, how does Luffy know? I mean, he might have.
That's a good question.
He might have known that he was part of his crew at some point. He might have been told, like, in fact, I'm pretty sure.
You would have never gotten where you are if you didn't have a friend. He's like,
Law didn't tell him, did he?
I mean, somebody probably told him at some point that, oh, hey, that's one of Gold Roger's crew. Luffy wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But it's here that he uses it as emotional leverage against Douglas Bullet, saying you would never have gotten as far as you did without your crew. And it's like, first of all, how do you even know that?
Yeah.
Second of all, fuck you. Fuck you, movie.
The fact that it was like, oh, I did have a friend. He just gets punched in the face. And that one singular... This is by the way, the first punch that really, really lands on him. Mm-hmm. And it's just done.
Yeah.
Glass cannon.
He black and whites him. What can you say? Man, that punch is really okay. So
it's a really strong punch.
One of my favorite things in anime is when something hits somebody so hard that things just go black and white. It goes to the goddamn
fades out.
Yeah, it goes sketchy at that point. It's a beautiful shot. It calls back to one of the most satisfying in the entire series during when he hits one of the dragons, celestial dragons, when he punches that motherfucker, and it's glorious. We see this hit go down. And it's a great dramatic finish, but it doesn't feel it.
You didn't do the voice. Dramatic finish.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I loved a lot of this movie. It's a beautiful movie, but this is one of the least earned victories. I mean, again, the victory against the giant form was awesome. Seeing again, we didn't cover this much. Usopp hit the seeds that he shot. Come back and destroy. It's actually really cool.
It destroys the mech, and Usopp said like, "What I tell you, snipers are there for
I have to mention something. This drove me insane.
Okay.
When Nami was like, "We have to trust and put our faith in Luffy," I'm like, piss off, woman.
Yeah, why?
God.
Why is everybody giving Luffy? Why is everybody trusting in him exactly?
Yeah.
Like, maybe to get out of there and survive, but to take down Douglas Bullet?
Where was Frankie and all of that? I feel like he disappeared for the entire last third of the movie.
I mean, he was mostly taking care of the ship.
I mean, he was driving the boat, yeah, but then he just, like, I swear to God, we didn't have a single line from him after Bullet was introduced.
I feel like you're right, and I don't know what's up with that.
Also, I want to point out, Chopper did nothing. This entire movie.
He's the medic.
He medicked. Luffy would not have survived if it weren't for his medicing.
Yeah, but why did it have to be Chopper? Like, it could have
literally that is Chopper's point.
Okay.
Chopper's doctorate. Do you not remember the song?
Sanji has like a quick one-off battle with Smoker, then fucks off for the rest of the movie. Zoro fights that one, I think he's like a vice admiral who has gravity powers. By the way, one of my biggest gripes with this movie is they obviously go toe-to-toe with like a lot of characters, but you know none of them are going to get a finish because they're saving that for the anime and manga. Like, you have Zoro fighting that blind Zatoichi motherfucker that summons meteors. Yeah, and it's like, oh, this is really cool. And it's like, I'm leaving now. Shink, enjoy this. Damn it, again!
Yeah, by the way, I actually loved that scene just because, so Fujitora, he uses Sephiroth summons Meteor. And yeah, so Sanji cuts it in half.
Zoro
cuts it in half, but then it's like, okay.
Oh, no, it wasn't enough.
Now what? You just,
now he got two pieces falling to Earth.
Yeah. He cuts it into two, but now it's like, okay, now you have two half-sized fiery boulders coming down to destroy everything.
And then Mihawk shows up. He's like, one strike, done.
Okay.
Which just a great way to show you, like, hey,
you
Zoro,
still have a long way to go.
Yup.
Okay, so I have one grievance, and I admit that this is completely from a non One Piece fan. To all you people out there who aren't really keeping up with One Piece but are One Piece curious, in this movie, don't expect any sort of boundary. Don't expect any, I was going to say logic.
Don't expect restraint.
Everyone does shit because they can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is no, see, here's the thing. This is what always drove me crazy. Even in Dragon Ball, with as bombastic as it was, there were limitations of what everyone could do. They had their own moves. They had their own limitations. They did certain things. There was a switch up, like especially in the Dragon Ball movies. It's like, okay, so now there's Spirit Saiyan. All right, but it's one thing. What drove me crazy in this movie, and it's not a gripe, it's just it makes me laugh, is that everything is solved by some giant bombastic move done by one person, and I'm just like, is there any limitation? Like, is there anyone who's weak, who's strong, who's?
I mean, you see that Usopp, his power, it requires it requires strategy, and it pays off exactly as it's supposed to.
That I get that. But when I see Nami coming down with a giant thunderstorm, granted, I don't know where she got that from, but it's like
she got it during the time skip. She has like this thing that can summon like weather bubbles.
Yeah.
But it's just, she's like, all right, hammer down, and she just drops it, and then just.
No, she got that on like the Ghost Island, didn't she? Or like
I can't remember where she gets the climb attack.
Skypia.
It's like it's hard for me to feel like there are any stakes in this movie at all when literally anyone can just OP power over it. Like even in the very end when they're trying to formulate the plan to take down Bullet, it's like, okay, so what? Luffy's older brother, what are the limits of his power?
He can do pretty much everything Ace can do, but he also knows hockey.
Yeah.
Which I guess Ace never did, or just never demonstrated.
I think Ace did.
But just didn't demonstrate.
Yeah. I mean, the only opportunity he ever had, he wasn't able to.
Yeah.
I like, maybe this is just me being an old anime fan, but one of the things that I loved about like big bombastic fights like early DBZ and whatnot is that there were like between the Gallic Gun and the Kamehameha was one of the most memorable points of Dragon Ball for me. Period.
Yeah.
Period. Because it is ultimate versus ultimate. This is the stake. This is what it's coming down to. And none of that exists in this movie.
Yeah, and that's because, and I'll be honest, this movie is more focused on flash than substance.
That's true.
100%.
What are you talking about, Goombah? You had Ultimate Fist versus King Kong Bullet.
Yeah, look, this is a Stampede. Like, it was a perfect name for a movie. Like and Mr. Festa Chuck Festa.
Yeah.
He's got the absolute perfect description. He wants to send the world into a stampede by wiping out all of the pirates. That, by the way, there was a plot to this. It wasn't just.
Yeah, he wanted to wipe out the entire island and prove that Bullet was the strongest, and then Bullet was just going to be this insurmountable force among the world that people would have to clamor to topple. I think was his whole plan.
I'm getting the feeling he's kind of like not Clown Kefka. He's like Pirate Kefka to some degree.
And
a little bit.
He just wants to watch the world burn.
Well, what he wants
he wanted Bullet to murder all the pirates and absorb all their shit, and then he wanted the military to try to do the buster call on Bullet, and then Bullet to survive it and be like, ha ha!
Yeah, because he was like, I'm gonna create a new era. Goldie Roger, your era's over. And I'm like, okay.
Let's think about the plan. By the way, once Bullet absorbs everything, how is he going to have any control over his new era?
I don't think he cared about that. I think he was just wanted to be. I think he wanted to be the one responsible.
Yeah, but he was so me, my era, I control, etc.
Well, no, he didn't want control.
He just wanted to be the one responsible. I think.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Ultimately, Mr. Festa would have been the guy who's like, hey, he's the one who invited all these people here and then had them murdered.
Okay, so let's wrap around to the other side of the plot, which was the treasure. Eventually, we learn that the treasure itself is a log pose that will direct people directly to One Piece, straight to it, just points right at it. And Luffy, after finally beating the dude, just like, oh, cool, smashes it, because of course he fucking does, because he's Luffy. He's like, I don't want to do I don't want to do it the easy way, because imagine how many power boosts I'll skip.
Well, and it is. So when he holds it up, the moment I saw Luffy holding it, I'm like, he's definitely going to break it, because at that point, it's, what, is he actually going to fight everybody for it?
Yeah.
And two, nobody can have it. No, for the series, for the plot to work, literally nobody can have an eternal pose to what was it called?
Laugh something.
Laughton?
Laughing.
It was
something.
laugh something. It was like a compound word.
Yeah. Nobody could have that log pose. Or eternal pose. It was an eternal pose.
Yeah, because it points. It's the compass that points you where you want go.
Yeah. So he ends up breaking it. Of course he does. Which, you know what? All right, good. You know what? That's in line with his character. And
I want to do it the hard way.
To be fair, if he didn't, everyone would have killed each other for it.
And again, you cannot have the series with something that just points you directly to the thing that the entire series revolves around. Although I will say this, and this was great. At one point, Nami just straight up calls Luffy out. Do you even care about One Piece anymore? Because I kind of feel like you don't. And I'm like, hey, One Piece! Is that internal critique there? Because...
No, here's the thing. As a non-One Piece fan, this is my prediction, and I think a lot of people may agree with me, is that once they actually get to the Grand Line, once they actually get to One Piece...
I mean, they're on the Grand Line.
Yeah, once they get to laughing whatever.
Once they get to laughing whatever, sorry. Again... Not knowledgeable. Openly admit that it's going to be a box that's just empty that has a note that says "Well done" or "Great adventure" or something like that. It's the journey along the way, guys.
Congratulations. You have played a really great game.
I still firmly 100% believe that One Piece is just a giant treasure.
I really hope it's literally just a giant treasure hoard.
Exactly, because that is the ultimate subversion. Because everyone's like, okay, is it going to be part of the old technology?
Is it going to be a weapon?
Is it going to be, what's it going to be? No, it is just Goldie Roger's treasure. That's where he put it. That's all it is.
That would be good subversion. It would make sense because, like, if you're going to go really, really pirate, that's the point of every pirate movie ever.
And then here's my other gripe with the entire setup for this plot. The story goes like, the legend tells that Gold Roger buried something deep beneath the sea that you can find here. But at the end, they show the origin of this treasure, which is him just like, oh, hey, sir, I made this in case we never need to find it again. No! And he just throws it off the ship.
Yep.
Where the fuck did all that other treasure come from?
And the boat?
The boat. And the chest that the thing was in.
Actually, I am almost 100% certain that Festa actually set all that shit up.
So you think Festa went down, found the pose that takes you directly to One Piece, and is like, yeah, I'm just gonna put this in a fucking box.
No.
And then I'm gonna bury an island.
He had to dig that out of a giant sea serpent, though.
Oh yeah,
a big
that's
sea
right.
serpent came in and swallowed
big
it.
fuck off eel ate it.
Yeah.
I am almost 100% certain that he ended up finding the eternal pose and then set everything.
Then I would really love to understand how he manufactured the island itself.
And the bubble.
Yeah,
And the spouts.
I mean, I guess there is weird magic technology because there are whole undersea cities with that shit. I don't know.
That's okay.
Look, let me put it to you this way: who's he been working with? A guy that can literally make matter do whatever he wants.
But he can't go underwater.
He can't go underwater, but he can put shit underwater.
That's fair.
You'd have to hire someone to actually get the eel out. Then I guess Bullet could beat the crap out
How
of
much
it.
of that island could he become? Like, is it only can he can't become the shoreline, obviously.
Yeah, because then he's surrounded by water.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the ultimate way to defeat him then. Just let him absorb to a point where he can't expand any further, and then he's just stuck there because he's not going to use anything ranged.
Anyway. So point being, also, we skipped over one scene, and I hate this scene. And some people are going to be mad at me for not liking this scene. But I did not like it. I actively disliked this scene.
Which scene?
So there's a scene, and this is where Chopper finds a battered Usopp and Luffy.
Okay.
The
redemption.
And I liked the scene. I liked
yeah.
it where Usopp is walking with Luffy, who's dying on his back, and Usopp has to grab a fucking log on fire and toss it off because shit's falling down
crumbling around. It's
Yeah.
gonna crush Luffy.
And
It's like, no, I won't let you die.
And that scene is cool, but I'm also like, okay, cool. I guess we need another moment to show how badass Usopp is. I mean,
But then he goes into that tirade of I don't deserve to be a part of your crew.
I'm a weakling, can't do anything.
Good. Shut up, Usopp. You've proven yourself a billion times over, and we've had this scene 5 times in the anime.
yeah, we've had this happen. You
don't need it in the movie.
Yeah, we don't need a scene where Usopp questions whether or not he's good enough to be a part of
Especially because
Luffy's
you
crew.
have that quip at the end where you've already planted the seeds to the destruction.
Yeah,
of
it's
the
like you
thing.
should
It's
know
you
that it was
already
gonna
know
happen.
You've basically got him if you can get him down there.
There didn't
Yeah.
need to be a character arc for Usopp in this movie. It's not his movie.
Especially because they abandoned that almost immediately. Luffy literally brushes it off. It's like, yeah, shut up, and goes off to fight the guy again.
Yeah, I hated that because I'm like, this is nothing. This is the most manufactured bullshit I had ever seen. There's a term for it, contrived.
There needed to be manufactured story and tension in order to draw away from the fact that this was literally just a fight.
They could have done more with Douglas. I mean,
They could have.
I mean, they could have made it his movie, but in the end, would you I guess if you made me care about him, I could have cared.
It's amazing. The villain of Film Gold almost suffers from the exact same goddamn thing. I know you haven't seen it, but he's a villain who just kind of seems to be an asshole for the sake of being an asshole, and you know that that his past was that he was a slave, and that ties into a big part of his character.
Okay.
And it is only during the finale of that fight that you really get an idea of how bad it was for him. Still way better than how they handled Douglas Bull in this movie.
He was a non-character. I didn't remember his name until you brought it up.
Yeah. And which, again, that's sad. There's no point to this movie. There's no point. It serves no narrative purpose. There is no emotional through line. It is a beautiful, action-packed movie that has a billion characters.
And it's all fan service.
It's all fan service.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But it's just not a coherent, complete story, which is why I'm as middling on it as I am.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, I was looking for this. There was no traditional fan service. Not really. I mean, you have all the different girls like Robin and Nami and the songstress. Like
even at the very beginning, Nami, when they're doing the tour of the island, Nami wins a swimsuit competition.
But I mean, it was over like that, and it was kind of subverting the idea that she's only doing it.
And it wasn't even one of her more suggestive outfits. You know, it's just like, hey, she's in a bikini,
and
but she wears less than that.
Well, the whole time she's in a bikini, but also really big overalls.
Yeah.
Which I was like, all right, that's interesting. And then Robin's wearing a nice dress.
Let's not talk about how good the outfits are in One Piece because we could be here all fucking day.
Okay, on Big Mama's Island, I'm not going to lie. Nami's beer maid outfit. I'm like, yeah, no, that does something for me.
Here's the thing. I think that the female designs for One Piece characters are grotesque. Not from that's sexist standpoint, but from the standpoint of
disgustingly
Jesus Christ.
unrealistic.
But then you could also argue the fact that, well, look at look at all of the villains and the gross square men with no legs.
Yeah, but my point ultimately being is that I think we're supposed to find the women sexy, and if that's the point,
I see.
We're supposed to find them sexy.
Here's the thing: as caricatures, as shapes. They are alluring shapes. They are not people.
Yeah, and that's so. My point. I want it on the record. This is not a matter of this is sexist. This is a matter of are we supposed to find this sexy? Because you're making it awfully hard.
It's a little tricky.
Because here's the thing. Like Sanji and Zoro are already a little bit weird in their own right, and
it's just because the body proportions.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. I could not tell them apart because the last time I saw Sanji, he looked very, very different, and Zoro looked very, very.
The movie one like they're. The one thing I do like about One Piece is that they do change up the outfits more often than you'd think.
Sure.
And in the movies, they always have a movie-centric outfit because guess what? You can always make figures based on movie 9, movie 10, movie 11.
Yeah.
Hey, here's Luffy.
It's a merchandising gold mine.
Yeah.
And you know what? More power to them.
Yeah. But that being said, this was a flashy, incredibly well animated thrill ride of a movie. But it is a roller coaster. Mm-hmm. There's no substance to it. It is just a crazy ride from beginning to end.
With very little breaks.
Yeah, with very little breaks. And in that regard, I can still suggest it as a movie. Like, if you're a One Piece fan, give this motherfucker a go. And like you said, if you're not a One Piece fan, it is still a thrill ride, and it does enough to give you enough information, but you might not get as much out of it. Mm-hmm. Definitely see it with a One Piece fan friend. And check out their response because it will help feed into your overall enjoyment.
If you're not a fan of One Piece, don't see this movie. If you're curious, like you want to see what it's all about, I would say this is probably the best visual example of what this entire series is about, but it does not go any deeper than that.
Yeah.
You will be as a non-fan, you will be so much better off seeing it with fans.
Yes.
Yeah. There was one last piece that I wanted to cover that we touched on earlier that we didn't go into, and I just wanted to make sure we covered it. It was the part where we mentioned that Ace showed up very briefly.
Oh, yeah.
And they set this up, so to speak, by showing off that one of the commentators that they introduced early on, this little pop idol girl with big floofy green hair.
Which, by the way, literally in the first 10 minutes, they show off this ability.
Oh, yeah, they show off this ability where she can take a picture and make a hologram out of it, like a really cool looking hologram. And at the very end, Sabo, like while everybody's trying to escape the Navy, who's about to do a big fucking buster call on the island, he's like, "Hey, can you do this? Can you make this for me?" And he creates this wall of fire between the pirate ships and the Navy. And then it cuts back to Sabo, and there's an illusion of Ace next to him doing the same thing. I'm like, so was that just for Sabo's benefit? Like, yeah, really power me forward. I want to do this with my other brother. It was just such a pointless nod.
Yeah.
I want to mention, too, that power was very much BTW.
Yeah.
Like, it literally was,
she can do this, by the way.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here's this wonderful pop star. By the way, she can make this happen. And then that's it.
And that was, I feel like they added that literally to have that shot. It's like, how do we work Ace into this?
Yeah.
And that's what it was. Not that it's a bad thing at all. Like, you get that cool shot of him standing back to back, shooting out things of fire. It's cool looking, but it has absolutely no substance. So I feel like it fits perfectly in with the movie.
Yeah. A scene completely bereft of any actual substance, but it makes it tingle in your nethers.
Yeah, it is the perfect metaphor for the rest of this movie, I think. That is, I think, the best way to end it.
To be fair, though, can you count off of one hand a single movie that Toei made for any of their series that actually had any impact on the overall plot?
Broly.
I mean,
Did
okay.
it?
Well, I mean, yes, actually, technically. The
Also,
movie.
which one?
The super Broly.
Okay, no, that I get. That
I would say
they're going
actually
places with that.
all of the super movies, in fact, because you don't need to watch the anime for Res F if you watch the movie.
That is fair. I'll give you that. But it's like,
I will say this: Strong World did actually kind of feature something that was supposed to tie into the overall lore. If I remember correctly, Oda
that was
himself,
the last One Piece movie I saw, actually.
Yeah, Oda himself said, "Hey, this is a character I actually wanted to make for the manga, but I never had the time, so they ended up making it as a movie." Kind of like how the last Bleach movie, the one where they go to hell, was fucking Kubo was like, I really wanted to do a movie about hell or a story about hell.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
they
not
made
going to
movie.
get a chance to do that now.
No.
Yeah.
So movie 10's kind of in that regard. I mean, it doesn't alter the plot going forward, but it is something that did come from his mind, and it was supposed to expand the universe.
And I believe it said in the credits that he had like overall production supervision on this one. Not that it like, so this character is at least sanctioned by Oda, if non-canon.
He helped write movie 10. I don't think I'm not sure how much involvement he's had since then. Although, if I had to be honest with you, I can't remember if it was the one before Gold, I think, with an ex-captain. I cannot stress how good that villain is. The villain, I think it's movie 12, maybe. Z. One Piece Film Z. One Piece Film Z has one of the best One Piece villains. And he's tremendous. And I almost cried during a scene in that movie because of that villain. So I won't lie.
So it's not that it can't be done. It's just that this movie didn't do it, and other movies did.
Yeah, but then again, this movie wanted to do something. I knew what this movie wanted to do. It wanted again fireworks. It wanted a roller coaster.
It was fan service.
Yeah,
that's what it was, and it accomplished it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to hold that against this movie because when it does it well, holy shit, does it do it well? I'm not going to take away from that.
Like we said, the guys sitting behind us, they were going ape shit. Like every 3 or 4 minutes, you'd hear them go ape shit over something. It's like awesome.
Actually, let me talk about one thing that I absolutely did love because this plays into a big part of what the audience wants. The scene with the revolutionary Sabo teaming up with Smoker is stupendous because it is 100% that we're only doing this because I need your help. Oh,
yeah,
come
but
on,
we
man.
make a great team, Smokey.
Yeah, and I'm first of all, Johnny Young Bosch is Sabo in this movie for reasons. And he's killing it. He is. Oh, he's having so much fun as Sabo here, and him with Smoker bouncing off of each other.
I also love that he grabs whatever nickname Luffy calls somebody and just takes it and runs with it.
Yep,
because he loves his little brother.
Toda guy. I can't remember what Trafalgar because
Traffy.
Well, here's the thing. He's called Traffy in the dub. It's Toda guy in the manga and the fucking. I don't actually know about the manga. I don't read much. Anyway, I don't know what Traffy's called in the Japanese version.
We saw the dub. He's Traffy.
Yeah. But it's because it's Tora Farugara. And that's why he's like, I am not calling you Tora Faruga. He calls him Tora. Maybe Tora-san or something like that. So, but yeah, I fucking absolutely loved every moment with Sabo in the movie. Just because Sabo's got this big old fucking grin.
I'm not going to lie. When he showed up, I'm like, oh, yay. And he was actually a breath of fresh air when he did show up because I was getting tired.
Yeah. But also, everybody is secretly hoping, well, not secretly, just hoping that Smoker becomes either a revolutionary or a pirate. Because
he's been riding that line.
Yeah, he's already walked that line so often. Everyone's just
honestly,
waiting for the moment
I feel
where
like
he
by
says,
the end of this, because you have like this big bad dude, okay, now we're going into One Piece predictions. Because you have like a big bad dude at the head of the Navy, I think once this whole thing comes to a massive climax of like massive pirates versus the Navy and everything, the entire thing is going to get reshaped. And I think Smoker's going to end up at the top of the new Navy and Luffy's going to end up at the top of the pirate order.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to go into spoilers for this one because it's been happening very recently in the manga. By the way, if you want to read the One Piece manga, it comes out exactly the same day as it does in Japan on Viz.com. Please use that. Don't use leaked bullshit from people who don't actually give a shit about whether or not the series does well. It's legally available. The only time I'm going to talk about this.
Support the official release, folks.
Yes. There is something that happened very recently in the manga that is shaking up everything. So I'm very excited to see where that goes.
I know this is slowly but surely coming to a head.
Yeah, as Oda keeps saying, he keeps giving percentages of how close we are to the end.
Yeah.
And I believe it's at the 80% mark, which means we only have 5 more years, you guys. 5 more years in One Piece.
5 more years. 5 years One Piece.
I will say, with the recent thing that happened, I really, truly feel like Oda's like in his end game. I think after Wano, we have 3 more arcs left.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, shit's gotten crazy.
Didn't One Piece just recently celebrate its
20 something.
I thought it was just 20th anniversary.
This was the 20th anniversary movie.
Yeah.
And I think that's for the anime. I think the manga started coming out in 1997, and the anime started coming out in 1999.
But I mean, it's like
I might be wrong on that one, but I think that's it.
Something that I am liking about all this is that it's very obvious that Oda is staying very, very much to this idea of, I've got a really big 25-year-long story to tell, but it is a story. It starts and it stops. And that's something that I respect a whole lot. Because in my experience, either manga creators or anime creators, they're either pressured to keep going,
or they're pressured to stop.
Yeah, or they just want to stop, or they can't stop. One of the things that always bugs me about Rumiko Takahashi, I love her work. She doesn't know how to finish a series. She knows how to stop them.
You don't like the end of Inuyasha?
How about Mason Ikoku? Or freaking Rama 1/2 for one. Didn't Rama 1/2 just end with the marriage was going to go down, and then the final panel is like they're back into another fight?
Maybe. I'm not a Rumiko Takahashi.
You gotta have
That's
that
fair,
evergreen ending. Anyway, I feel like that culminates how we feel about Stampede itself. Goombah, thanks for joining us. By the way,
it was an absolute pleasure. Yeah.
We didn't even say, hey, we've got Gaijin Goombah here.
You got anything you want to plug for the people at
At the moment, no. I mean, just check out my content on YouTube. I've been talking about a lot more anime as of late. I've been doing a lot of cultural breakdowns on Demon Slayer because it's just been absolutely bonkers.
It's a fucking great show.
And as much as I'm about to go into this spiel of like every single enemy is based off of some folklore creature, every last one.
That's awesome.
There's that. I'm possibly going to be talking. I'm actually might be talking about Wano in the not too distant future. Gaming's been really rough on me as of late.
Gaming's been bad for everybody.
Yeah, I know.
Especially Bethesda.
But, oh, Jesus. Go play Outer Worlds, kids.
Play Outer Worlds and fuck Bethesda.
Oh, God. But no, it's, I've got a lot going on anime-wise, so, and I'm working on possibly a new sort of documentary kind of series, but we'll see how that goes.
Hell yeah, dude. All right, well, that's One Piece Stampede. If you're a One Piece fan, you'll enjoy it. If you're like me and you're kind of middling, you'll middle on it. And if you're not a One Piece fan, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't like it. It's an overall enjoyable shonen film with high set action pieces.
Yeah,
check it out in theaters now.
It's gonna be great for kids. Mm-hmm. I think kids are gonna find this movie a non-stop thrill ride, and that's cool. And that's who it's made for. And that's one thing to always keep in consideration. Who is this movie made for?
I will admittedly say, after the movie, I looked over to you. I'm like, I feel like I'm too old.
I remember that. And as a non-fan, if you are interested in a lot of bombastic action, go for it. Just don't think about the logic of anything, because you're not going to have enough knowledge to understand what people do, why they can do it, but just enjoy it. When I saw Al Capone just turn to a goddamn castle, I was like, I have no idea why, but let's just roll with it.
You got dudes turning into castles, dudes turning into dinosaurs. You got a guy with keyboard for teeth. Don't worry about it.
Just don't think about it. Just watch.
So thank you so much for joining these 30-year-old white dudes talk about a Japanese movie made for Japanese
children.
Middle schoolers. Have a wonderful day, and yeah. One Piece Stampede, I think, should still be in theaters by the time this comes out, but if it doesn't, it'll be out on DVD and Blu-ray before you know it. See ya!